Today, I'm going to talk about the trouble looming for the Arizona housing market. Now, typically in my videos, I'm very positive and upbeat, but I also don't want to put my head in the sand, or at least allow you to think that I'm not paying attention to everything that is going on a larger scale. And again, I want to share that with you and things to consider and things for you to keep in mind if you are even thinking about buying now or in the future, so that way you can make a great decision for you and your family so you're not left in a bad spot. But welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. My name is Rich Brecklin, your Arizona real estate agent with Real Broker. Like always, I always talk about what we've experienced over the last 2.5, 3 years in the real estate market. And like everywhere, we had an inventory shortage. We had homes selling for way more than they should have. Rates were insanely low. And then we had rates jump up, inventory rose, we had to fall back in pricing. But now home prices have continued to go up over the last few months. And I see a lot of different channels and colleagues talk, oh, the crash is coming, the crash is coming. And if you say that, eventually you're going to be right. And then some people like saying, oh, no, it's great. It's always going to be great. It is fine. Everything is fine. Well, for some people, maybe, but there's also some other things to consider, especially when you look at inflation and the cost of capital and what that does for companies and potential layoffs. Now, we've already seen layoffs with Amazon. Just last week or the week before, I put out a video when they announced laying off 9,000 people, bringing their most recent layoffs to around 27,000 people, and that is felt here in Phoenix Metro. And also in the Phoenix area, layoffs with Carvana. Intel has already done some restructuring to save money. So when you start seeing that on a small scale, I don't say small scale, but a smaller impact, then what does that lead to? If you start seeing more and more companies, not just globally, but nationwide, but here also, and you start seeing those layoffs because capital is getting more expensive, inflation and just the cost of doing business increases. Well, now you have that, and you have that trickle effect, and how that is going to affect the housing market. So yeah, right now, yeah, home prices are going up, but just be careful and cautious of what it is that you are doing. And as I always share with today's rates, now they have gone up slightly from yesterday, but with more mortgage-backed securities, stronger a little bit. Yesterday, we're going to probably see a little bit of a dip throughout the day, maybe into tomorrow. But right now, 30-year fixed right around 6.5. So at least they're under 7. I know probably a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, you never would have thought that. Everything was great. Rates are 3 or below. But we'll probably see a little bit of a dip. Now, keep in mind, this is if you have perfect credit. For those who have poor credit, maybe you have acquired a lot of consumer debt. Maybe you thought you deserved a new vehicle and you went and got one of those bad boys. Well, who knows what your credit is, but keep in mind, this is with perfect credit. So if you have less than stellar credit, that rate is going to be higher. And speaking of consumer credit, credit or debt, credit card debt is at all-time high. And this is what I see a lot of when I'm meeting with potential clients and buyers is their credit card debt and auto loan debt. I know a lot of people want to get upset with student loan debt, and I had student loan debt. Thank God that is gone. But credit card debt is causing people a lot of hardship. And not only when it comes to buying a home, but just paying their bills, especially with the way rates are. And if we look at this article, all-time high, 943.5 billion. I mean, we are a want it right now society. And with things getting more expensive, more people are turning to credit cards. And a charge here, charge there, turns out, just compiles over time. And now you're just paying very minimal on that principal and a lot of interest, and you're just stuck in that cycle. So that is unfortunate, but we're just seeing that climb, and more people just have so much credit card debt. And then I'm going to go back to this one, but with auto loan debt, that is also increasing. I think few weeks ago, I talked about the percentage of people with auto loans that have over $1,000 monthly auto loan payment hit a new high. I believe it was 15 to 20%, somewhere around there, of all auto loans are $1,000 or more, which is, a lot of money. I can go back to my hometown of Peoria, Illinois, and get a mortgage for that and rent it out and actually have that make me money versus a vehicle. And I almost fell into that trap. I had a new Ford Bronco loaded on order, ready to pick it up. And once it got completed, I was like, what am I doing? I don't need a new vehicle. I wanted one. Wasn't the smartest purchase, and I try to spend my money wisely. And I'll just keep my paid off 2011 Tundra and stick with that old reliable vehicle instead of taking on an unneeded debt, especially as the uncertainty just with the economy as a whole. So more and more Americans are struggling to make their auto loan payment. It says in January, the percentage of auto borrowers who are at least 60 days late on their bills climbed 2% from December into 20.4% from a year ago, which is concerning. So we're going to see a lot more repossessions. And then used car prices back on the rise, which is, again, who wants to pay so much more for a used vehicle? I know I don't, but I know people who've also traded in their used car and got a lot more than what they should have. So with credit card debt, auto loan debt, and inflation rising, it's putting people in a bad spot. And then we have home rates more expensive. Homes are not getting any cheaper, and people are stretched so thin. And even looking at restructuring 40-year mortgages, and that's great. You give people more time, lower the monthly payment. Well, society just finds you save them $100, they're just going to go find another way to spend that $100. So hopefully you don't fall into that trap where you're saving the money, but then you just find another way to go spend it and finance another vehicle. So just spend wisely, especially as we look at what we're seeing in this market. Now, if you watched yesterday's video, I pulled up the amount of homes we have for sale because they had just dropped under 11,000. Well, today we're even lower at 10,777 active homes, single family, detached across the market. Now, back in the fall, we started to see a big pullback. Inventory was above 17,000. So we are still well below normal, but this lack of inventory is helping keep prices from dropping and actually increase over the last few months. So if you are a home buyer thinking about buying, not only do on average have a higher credit card debt, you may have higher auto loan debt, and now it's going to cost you more. Hopefully you don't, but that's as a whole, what we're seeing and what's going to be troublesome for a lot of buyers out there is if they have this added debt and this added pressure to pay their monthly bills. And here, taking a look at the Cromford report, listings under contract, again, is up from last month and last quarter. Month supply of inventory has yet dropped again to 2.1 months, down from 2.7 and 3.3 last quarter. Listing success rate still around 78, 79%. And remember, 65% is normal. And so we're selling homes. If a home is priced right, looks good, and it is selling. It's not coming off the market like it was a few months ago where it was 57%. And then the average monthly sales price is up 542 from 5.25 and 520 last quarter, and up from 2 years ago at 467. Now in 2019, that average was under $400,000, and the median price is also up. Obviously these are all down from last year when we saw a peak in May, June. But that Cromford Market Index is again rising. And remember, 100 is balanced, above is a seller's market, below is a buyer. So 135.2. Now, I covered Gilbert, Arizona quite a bit, and it's one of my go-to places. It's where we live. Now, here in Gilbert, there are 353 single-family detached homes for sale. And Gilbert is just a very desired place to live. Now, out of those 353, the average right now list price is $789 with a median list of $580. Or I'm sorry, $650. Now, those are list price, not sales price. Now, if we jump over to the Cromford report showing what it's actually selling for, average monthly sales price, again, this is lagging indicator, is $613, up from last month, but down from last quarter. And the median right now is $530, up from $515, but down from last quarter. So you can see that trend. But again, it's a smaller amount of homes being sold, but just to kind of give you an idea if you're looking at Gilbert. And Cromford Market Index way up to 168, up from last month and last quarter. A lot of laggy indicators here. So something to keep an eye on if you're thinking about Gilbert. Listing success rate is 79, but that month supply of inventory is down to 1.4. So what does this mean if you are thinking about buying, thinking about selling? Well, it means spend wisely. If you are so set on buying, right? And that's my business. That's how I make money. I help people buy homes and sell homes. However, if it doesn't make sense for you, if it's not affordable, don't do it. But stay within your means and look at your budget. Pay off unnecessary debt. Don't take on unnecessary debt, and understand what it is you're getting into, and can you afford that home. Don't be stretched so thin that anything goes wrong in the home that you cannot fix it, or something happens and now you're behind on your car payment, your credit card debt, and your house payment. That is not going to be a good spot to be in, because you buy a home today, you may not get the equity you need to sell for. It might take some time. It's not like 2021 where we saw that huge growth in equity. We're probably going to be in a negative appreciation from this point 2022 till now. We'll see as that goes on, but just something to look at. So, affordability is huge, and something I tell my clients, just, make sure you can afford that monthly payment. Again, with rates being where they are, and if they're going to go up, that is, again, limiting how much purchase power you have. But thankfully, there are ways to get a lower rate. One is getting a seller concession, doing a temporary buy down, 2-1, 3-1 buy down for the rate, or even a full buy down for the life of the loan. And also looking at new construction and getting the concessions there from the builder, even using the builder's lender of getting some of those low rate locks. It just depends case by case. But, with capital rising and potential layoffs happening, that would be the huge problem for the Arizona market. Now, let's hope this doesn't happen, but I'd rather prepare for the worst, hope for the best, and that way you're not caught with your pants down. But if there's anything I can do for you, you have any questions, let me know your thoughts. But drop me an email, follow me on Instagram. Can't wait to hear from you, and watch this next video, and I'll see you next time.